Hey guys, it's Roxy with Paperless Student, back with another video. And in today's video I'm going to be talking to you guys about Notability. I'm going to be showing you guys all the different tools that you find in Notability, how you use the application, how the application can write notes for you, and I'll also be commenting on what I think about each and every tool, improvements, disadvantages, and how I personally use it and how useful I found it over the past year that I've been using Notability to take my notes. I've already upgraded my iPad to iOS 11, but I'm not going to be reviewing iOS 11 anytime soon because it's still in beta and so many applications are not working as expected. But if you guys are really eager to know what to expect from iOS 11, and if you're wondering whether or not you should upgrade or wait for the full version in September or autumn, whenever that will be, just let me know in the comments down below if you really want to know. So let's get started with Notability. You guys are looking at the home screen. I don't know if that's what it's called, but you're looking at the home screen of the application Notability, and I'm going to explain to you guys how it's set up, and I'm going to explain the tools in a systematic way, starting from the left, going to the right, from bottom going up, so that I don't miss anything. So the first thing you notice is how your notes are organized. We have two types of organizations that we have. Okay, I'm just going to delete this because I want to show you guys how to do everything from scratch. I've already done this video so many times, but somehow it's just not coming through. So this is probably my fourth time trying to do this video, so bear with me. The way the notes are organized, they're organized into dividers or into subjects. Dividers are the ones with the arrows, like I have third year, I have practical questions, O-level, fourth year, and lectures. So these are dividers. Under dividers, you have different subjects. These are the subjects I have for my third year. Subjects I have for my O-level. Don't ask me why I have O-level notes. Don't judge me. For fourth year, and lectures. And if you don't want to put your notes in dividers, you can just have them as subjects. I have human physiology, I have papers, YouTube, Russian. You guys get the idea. So this is how the notes are set up. They're very easy to find. You can also change the themes. You can change the themes of your home screen to look how you want. So mine, for now, I have light. I can have colorful subjects, and this is how they'll look. This is how colorful subjects will look. I like my notes colorful, but I don't think I like my applications as colorful. So that's why I disabled my colorful subjects. I think it's better to just have the dots. It looks neater for me. Okay, but you can also have the dark theme. This is how the dark theme looks like. And you can also have themes that you can buy for less than $2 each. I'll just preview them for you guys so you see. This is the autumn theme. So you guys see how it looks. Now let's go to the summer theme. They're very beautiful themes, but I haven't bought one because I don't know, I just feel like I've already wasted a lot of money on different applications. Many applications I'm not using, so but they're really cute and beautiful. I think I'm going to buy some soon. I just, won't do it like right now type of thing. So you can just buy them depending on the season you're in and your mood. You can just change them up and it just makes the application look more beautiful. It's not very helpful, but okay, so now back to my theme, my free light theme, and let's get started. discussing the settings that you find in Notability. So you have auto backup. Auto backup allows you to back up your notes to Dropbox, Google Drive, Box, Web DAV, or it's DAV, I'm not sure. You can also just turn off the backup. I haven't had the need to restore the applications, so far my Notability has worked great, never crashed, never lost anything, so that's a plus. Thumbs up for Notability. For you to be able to back up into these different cloud services, you need to be signed in. So to sign in, you go to manage accounts. That's where you can either log into your different accounts or you can log out. So depending on your preferences, you can just use all of them or use some of them. I just use only 2 of them, Google Drive and Dropbox, but mostly I use Dropbox because I don't really have anything in my Google Drive. Maybe when I run out of space in my Dropbox, I'll start using Google Drive, but that's highly unlikely. So let's just say for now, I'm just a Dropbox person. You then have the option to be able to have your notes synchronized between devices. If you, let's say you have an iPad Pro, an iPad Mini, an iPhone 6, or all these Apple devices that you want to have your notes exactly the same in all of these devices, then you might want to switch on your iCloud. I don't have such things. I only have an iPhone and I don't use it for my notes. I mostly use my iPad, so this service is not very useful for me. So you probably need to buy some more space on your iCloud, because I'm sure I have more than 5 gigabytes worth of notes in my Notability. So you might want to keep that in mind. And then the documents. So for your documents, you need to, you can have the option to put default settings. Default settings are settings that will be for all your new notes, all the new documents that you're going to be putting in Notability. They will have a default title or a format for your title, and then the default page, default paper that you want, whether you want it squared, lined, whether you want it pink, black, or gray. This is where you change all those settings. I have mine set on this one. I'm not sure if you guys can see. I'm moving on the second one, and I like it squared. So this is my default. You guys will see when I start a new page that's how my page pop up is squared on this beige looking paper, because those are my default settings. I also have all my notes, including the date and the time, because this helps me to be able to find my notes when I'm looking for them much later. Sometimes I don't remember the title of the notes, so it's difficult for me to search for the notes, but I remember the date that they were made, so it's easier for me to find them. I find it useful to just include the date and time. The next thing that you can also set a default for is your typing. You can choose your font size of the font and color. You can change your default settings here. If you're just going to tap the text tool and start typing, this is the default look your typing will have. And then for writing, you can tick the straight line, tap and hold for zooming. So I just have all of this ticked except for left-handed mode, because I'm right-handed, so I don't need that. I don't know how it would affect my writing if I did put it on, even though I'm right-handed. I don't know. I'm not going to experiment with that, but you guys can, and let me know how that goes if you're interested. Then the iOS sleep. There was a time when I had this switched on, and what it did was, if I left my iPad even for an hour, I'll still find it on, and this was not a very useful thing to do because I found that it drained out my battery. And sometimes you just leave your iPad, not because you are doing something specific, or you just forget to switch off your iPad to put it into sleep mode, and this application will keep running for all that time. So I found it to be quite an inconvenience, because I'll forget to put my iPad to sleep and just close it, then go to school, go to class, or go for my afternoon class and discover, oh, my iPad is low on battery and I can't use it in class because I had this switched on. So just my advice, turn it off.
it won't hurt you. It's not a very useful thing. It's great if, no, it's not great at all. I don't know why they have it. It doesn't work for me. So really, I don't see how this is useful at all. But they have it. And then you can get to protect your web clips with a password. Not sure how that's useful in Notes, but I'm sure someone thought that it would be useful. And if I ever get to use it, I'll let you guys know. So far, not used it. And then the next tool is just a user guide. So if you have any questions, if you're trying to do something that you don't understand, you have all of these directions written for you here, which I personally never used. I'm more of a hands-on person, you know, mess it up as you go, figure it out as you go type of person. So I've never really read them. They just look so boring. But in case that you're really clueless what you're doing, maybe it's a good idea to just check them out, you know, won't hurt. Okay, and then information about Notability. You can read this by tapping the little eye icon. Then you can delete notes, and then you can recover them. So whatever notes you deleted, they get completely permanently deleted in 30 days. So in case you accidentally delete something, you can just tap the bin and the little bin icon, and then you can just restore your applications, your notes. Now going to the top left corner, we have edit. This edit button allows you to delete subjects and dividers. So you can just tap on the little settings icon and you can delete. You can change the color for the subject. You can choose if you're using colored subject. You can also put a password to protect those notes if you don't want anyone else to access them. And you can just delete the notes. So every time if you have any protected notes, no one can read them unless they have your password. I'm not really sure how that's going to be useful for... Well, okay, fine. I know how that's going to be useful to people. If you have really sensitive information and you're not really writing notes for class, this is a very useful tool that you'd really want to utilize. So far, I'm not using that tool. Let's see how I can delete something. Tap and hold, and it will select all your notes in that subject. And then you can deselect some if you want some of them not to be deleted. But if you want everything to be deleted, just hold and tap. Just tap and hold, and then you can delete all that information all at once. Okay, that's another way of doing it. You don't have to completely delete everything. You can select, tap and hold, and then you can export all the notes in that subject or in that divider using this same method. Same way you delete, same way you export to different applications. So Notability allows you to export your notes to so many places. You can send emails, Dropbox, Google. You guys can see you can actually print the notes directly from here. You can print with the paper, remove the paper, and you can export to other applications. Before you export to other applications, you can decide whether you want the paper to be on or the paper to be off. And you can also choose whether you want to share your recordings or not. And then you can choose the format of the applications. So PDF is if you want to share it with someone and they can't change anything, but they can annotate your notes. And then you have the RTF, which shares mostly text and audio and your recordings, but it doesn't allow you to share handwritten notes. And then you have your note format, which if you send your notes in the note format to someone else, if they have Notability, they can edit your notes from scratch. They can literally delete everything in your notes. Unlike if someone has a PDF, they can only add more information, comment on the, on the notes, and they can't really delete everything. So let me show you guys the difference between notes that have been exported with the paper and those that have been exported without the paper. Okay, so I exported this a couple of days ago when I first did this video, so it's really available for me to use. So this is an example of notes that I exported without the paper. The underlined paper, you guys can see, it just looks like plain paper. but I didn't actually write this on plain paper. I wrote it in Notability, and I always use squared paper, so this is how it looks. And then this is an example of notes that I exported with the paper. So once you export notes as PDF files, you can't delete. See, I'm trying to delete this. You can't delete this information, but you can annotate these notes. You can still add stuff, and but you can't delete what's written on the paper. So back to Notability. You can also add subjects. You can either add a subject or a divider. So in this this demonstration, I'm just going to add a subject, and I'll call it demonstration because this is the subject I'm going to be focusing on in this video. So, and I'm sure if you guys noticed that it was added to the last divider. So when you're adding something new, it goes automatically to the last divider. But there's times when you actually don't want it in the last divider, so you can always change that by editing and then tapping on the 3 lines on the right, and then you can move it up. You can either make it a subject or put it in a different divider. So now that was 9, now it's 10. Oh, I really don't want it here, so I'll move it up to practical questions that has 1 subject so far, but once I add, it has 2 subjects now. So you guys get the idea. You just tap and hold, and then you can shift it around to wherever you want. So I'm just going to leave this as a normal subject for this tutorial, and this is the subject that we're going to be focusing on. Now on the right side, we have the search tool where you can search your notes. You can either search the titles, or you can search text that's actually within notes, like content that's within notes. It only searches text. So if you have any text with HE in any of these notes, let's check this one, see if it has. You see, it's got all these highlighted HE highlighted everywhere. So that's how we pick that up, and it's showing you what pages have on the side here. It's showing you what pages have HE, what you're searching for. So that's very useful if you don't really remember how your notes are. I don't use that personally because most of my notes are very organized, and I remember where what note is and all of that stuff. So I've never really needed to search for my notes, but it's a useful tool to have. Before I start a new note, I want to show you guys how the notes are organized in Notability. So you can have notes according to created date. This is how most of the time, if I have to go through and scroll down my notes, I mostly use the date that I created the notes in. And then you can also look for them according to modified dates. Sometimes you wrote the note a long time ago, but you recently modified it, and you probably remember when you modified the note much better than you do when you actually created it. So that's also very useful. And sometimes just by name. If you remember my notes, they start with a G, then you can just easily just scroll down and look for all the notes that start with a G, and maybe it will come back to you when you see the notes. So that's how you can navigate. So now let's get started into how to actually write notes with Notability and what tools you have to write your notes. To create a new note, you just have to tap on this section. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, let's do this. Utilize the new. So to create a new note, this is the tool that you just tap on, and it create new note. This tool is actually quite useful. So let's tap that, and this is our new note. As you guys can see, this is the default paper that I have in my settings, and the default size squares that I have in my settings, and also the date, the title, is the date, which is my default title, but I'm going to change the title so you guys see how to do that. And I'll just write demonstration. Oh, it already exists. Okay, let's just say demonstration 5. So there you go. If for some reason this is not the default settings you want, maybe today you just feel like writing on different paper. That's the beauty of having digital notes, is you can just do whatever you feel like whenever you feel like it. So you can just decide, okay, today I just want to write on yellow paper and I want the squares a bit bigger. I'm feeling like writing on straight line paper. You can just easily change it, and it changes your whole document. So your whole document becomes this paper. Unfortunately, Notability, you can't have different papers of different colors and you can't have individual pages that have like a certain format. So once you change the settings of your pages, it changes the whole document. Okay, let me show you a demonstration with notes that I already have. Let me change the settings. Let's change it to something dramatic. You can see all the papers are changed. All the papers change. All of them. You can't change an individual paper. You change everything. See? They all just change. So I wish they could allow you to change settings of individual papers. I think sometimes it's cool for you to have different colored papers for different color coordination when you're studying your notes, but they don't have that option so far. And another thing that you need to understand about Notability is the scrolling. It's like always vertical. There's no horizontal scrolling, and you can't change the settings either. So your paper scrolls in a vertical direction, and your paper is one size. You only have A4 size paper in Notability. You can't change it, unfortunately. You can't have A5 or A4. You could export it from a different application, but that's a completely different thing. So some of you guys are probably wondering, how can I add different papers to Notability? Okay, personally, I tend to download a new paper as JPEG. You can download them as JPEG or as PDF. And when you download them, you then need to copy them into Notability. You can add them as notes, like I added these as separate notes, like papers. These are just blank papers that I use. These are just blank papers that I use for my notes. And so what you do is you click on the notes and then copy. Then go back to your notes and paste. Now it's here. So you need to, every time you want to add a new paper, you just need to paste it in. And you can paste in as many papers as you want. So this is one way you can go around having one size paper. But unfortunately, it will still try to compress the paper so they look exactly the same size as this one. So you can add different type of papers. I have had notes that I've done that. Let me see if I can show you guys. Yes, like this paper. I added this paper from an external I got this paper from an external application and I added it in here. It's an A3 size but once you put it in Notability, it just looks like an A4 size. Even if it's a huge paper, they'll just compress it so it looks like an A4 size. And unfortunately, that doesn't really work for me. It didn't help me to add more information in or anything like that, because the application doesn't support any other size paper. So you could try it. Maybe it might work for you, because you can actually see the difference. Just look carefully at this one compared with this one. The difference is subtle, almost negligible. So I wouldn't really suggest you using any other size paper, which is different. If you're going to use another application that supports this, like GoodNotes, for example, GoodNotes actually allows you to have an A3, and you can actually write feeling like you're actually writing on an A3 paper. So I will get into the details of that when I'm actually reviewing GoodNotes. But for now, you just need to understand that whatever the size paper you put in Notability, the application will probably just compress it or expand it so it looks like an A4 paper. So in a nutshell, they don't really support any other size paper. So just stick to the A4, of which I think A4 size paper is not a bad size. It's the perfect size to write notes. I've been using A4 since I started writing notes, so I don't have a problem with that personally. But it's something that you might be interested in knowing. Okay, so you can also bookmark your pages. If there's pages that you want to easily access, and you can just go to the bookmark and you can find them. This is very useful when you're studying PDFs, because this application does annotate PDFs. So when you have notes like maybe title pages, you can just easily bookmark those so you can easily access them on the side. So I will show you guys an example of this. So this is how you export files into Notability from another application. So now we're exporting the PDF into Notability. It says send to all Notability. Say okay, then you go to Notability. Okay, so the problem with Notability when you're sending stuff, anything to Notability, they seem to want to download the information. If it's a Word document, Notability will need to do this process online. It converts it to PDF online. So it doesn't open Microsoft Excel, all of those documents. Notability cannot open them if you're offline. See if I can get another. Let me see if I actually have any documents that I have that I can just. Yeah, this is a PDF. Okay, so we can use this for now, because I don't know what's happening. It's just downloading forever. That doesn't normally happen, by the way, when you export your files from Notability. Probably it's because of the beta that I have on my iPad at the moment. But when you export PDF files into Notability, they just automatically just open. It's only when you export Word and Microsoft documents that it needs to convert them, and that conversion happens online. So it's the main reason why I don't use Notability to annotate anything. So this is what I wanted to just show you guys. You could just annotate and you can easily find your notes here. Pages that you've annotated, you can easily access them, and you can also bookmark different pages. You can bookmark that one, bookmark this one, bookmark that one, and the last one. So I want you guys to see. So you see you have your page 44, and you can easily access the pages that you have bookmarked. This is how this tool works. So it's very useful if you're going to be using Notability to annotate your PDFs as well. This might be something useful. Even your notes, if you have a topic that's really long and you want to bookmark all your titles, and you might want to bookmark your note. Okay, so that's all about different pages in Notability. Once you finish writing your notes, you can export your files the same way you can export them from your home screen, and you can also choose the page range that you want to send. You can send a single page, or you can send 2 pages, you can send whole document. It all depends on your preference. I like this because you can pick random pages you can share with different applications. There's many applications you can export to from Notability. So now into the actual writing and use of Notability as a note-taking tool. You have your text that you can just type your text, write it anywhere. Unfortunately, in Notability, you can't have your text, you can't just add your text anywhere on the page. You have to, it always starts at the beginning. Even when you tap at the end of the page, like now I'm actually tapping on the far right side of the pages, but my writing cursor is starting at the very beginning of the pages. So that's something you need to keep in mind. If you want to move this, there's these arrows here. Let me show you guys what arrows I'm talking about. These arrows here, they allow you to move the cursor. Okay, they allow you to move the cursor, and your text can just be moved either in the middle. You can't really choose the precision of where exactly you can have it, but you can compromise on a quite suitable place. You can also highlight and change the format. You can increase the size, make it bold, change the color, underline it, and change the font. Probably not happy with the font that you have and how it looks, then you can just easily change it. Okay, and you can also have some default settings that you already have. Like I have A, B, and C. These are like already what can I say? These are like shortcuts to a certain format. Like for example, if you're writing notes, you might want to use the same format for all your headings. So this, just select, and it's already changed it. Then you can just write all your different headings with the same format, and you can then change it up, which is good. And these formats, you can also change them. You can tap and hold, and then you can choose different settings for your shortcuts for all 3. So like I said, I mostly use this when I'm writing notes and I want a certain format, maybe for all your subtitles or for all your major titles. You want them to look exactly the same, then you can just use these quick shortcuts to help you out. Okay, you can also add numbers when you're writing. You can use bullets. Or you can just not have any. It's all up to you. So that's all the options you have with using text in Notability. Okay, then now we go to the main tool, which is your writing tool. It comes with 2 types of pens. You have a gel pen and then you have a ballpoint pen. I mostly use the gel pen. It works better for me. You can choose different sizes. You can choose different colors. You guys notice when I select the size of pen, this whole all these tools don't disappear. So before I write something, I need to tap first and then write. But when I choose a color, it automatically disappears by itself. I don't think you can change the settings in Notability, but you can change them in GoodNotes. So just remember that when you choose a size pen, you have to tap before you write. And then when you choose a color, it automatically disappears, so you can readily write. You have the same options for your highlighter. You have a ballpoint one and you have a gel pen one. How the highlighter works, it works exactly the same rules that apply to the pencil are the same rules that apply to your highlighter in this application. And then now to your eraser, rubber, whichever you prefer. Okay, this one erases a whole stroke. I think that was one stroke, one stroke, one stroke, one stroke. All you need to do is to just tap the stroke and it will remove everything. Let me show you guys what I mean. Okay, so most of that was one stroke. So I just tapped and everything disappeared. Just one tap and everything disappears. So it removes one stroke. It doesn't remove a section of your notes or a section of what you're trying to erase. It erases everything. So you should always remember that. You can have this whole huge, as long as you don't lift your pencil from the screen, it's considered one stroke. To erase it, you just tap it and it's gone. That's how the eraser works. Then we have a selecting tool. Our selecting tool does so much in this application. We can restyle everything. We can restyle the size of our notes, or we can change the color. You can change different colors and different sizes, which is great. We can also move around the text to different parts in the documents, even remove it completely without being silly. And we also have this square selecting button, selecting tool, which allows you to resize. So we have two types of selecting tools. One that allows you to move around. This one also allows you to change colors and everything, but it's mostly for resizing. It's a new addition that they did in their last biggest update. And you can copy sections of anything in Notability and paste it in another application if the application supports Notability in that way. Okay, and then we have the pointing tool, where the pencil stops working as a pencil and it works more like a pointer, where you're just scrolling through. So I'm still using my pencil right now, but it's not writing anything, it's just scrolling down the page. Okay, and then we have this option to record. This is why I use Notability for my this is the main reason why I use Notability for my lectures, because I can get to write and record at the same time. And when I'm done with everything, I can always play back. Okay, if you guys can see, looking at the top of the screen and simultaneously looking at the page, that as the recording is playing, my notes will also start writing simultaneously. This is really cool, and I love this so much about Notability because it helps you to locate your notes. It also helps you to be able to just jot basic information that you need for class or during a lecture. Let me show you more. A complete recording that I did for one of my classes, where I wrote the information, and obviously I can't write everything that the teacher is saying, but I can jot some information down so that I can go back to it. Like I could just write like a small little dot or drawing for a whole sentence that a teacher says, and I can just play it back while the little drawing is drawing on my screen. I can hear the part that I missed out. So Notability also allows you to add different kinds of media. You can add photos that you can resize and annotate. I will just fast forward this part because most of it is really very basic, where you can just add different types of photos, figures, and all of those things that you can easily annotate. So I'm just gonna fast forward this a little bit so you guys can get a glimpse of how that works in Notability. But it's not anything that's complicated for anyone to do or anyone to understand, and there's really not much to say about it except to just demonstrate to you guys how it works. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to attach some of the notes that I've created in Notability so you guys can have a glimpse at how my notes look when I write using this application. And that would wrap up this long review of Notability. And finally, guys, this is just a small presentation of how my notes look in Notability, the notes that I've written using this application. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it, comment, let me know what you think, what applications are working for you, and let me know if I missed anything in this review about Notability. Until next time, bye.